with me, I have Samantha Jones. She is a April 2022 bachelor's degree holder in cybersecurity. Thanks for joining me, Samantha.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. So let's go ahead and get into the questions. The first question I have for you is, where are you currently working and what's your job title there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I technically work for Annika Systems. I'm a government contractor on a customs and border protection contract. And my position title is I am a systems engineer.
Great. And what are some of like the daily tasks you have in that job?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a project based foundation. So a lot of our daily tasks kind of revolve around that you would see in a project management kind of um, I guess environment would be a good word to say there. And so what we do, we have a daily scrum every day that we kind of go over our daily goals, our daily tasks, and everything that's going to happen for the day, for the week. And then throughout the day, just in relation to my position in itself, I hold and host a bunch of meetings to update a lot of other teams within the contract on what's going on with migration efforts in regards to the project that we are on without saying too much. And so a lot of my job actually revolves around data. So a lot of statistics, a lot of metrics, those kinds of things are a lot of what is involved with my daily tasking. But outside of that, throughout a week, I work a lot with a lot of other teams. I work a lot of project essential areas with a lot of different parts of customs and border protection, and even sometimes even beyond that with Department of Homeland Security. So keeping everybody in the loop, keeping everybody involved, which I guess you could put it that my role is a little bit more supervisory and less technical at this point in time. But I do still use a lot of Amazon web-based knowledge. A lot of my cybersecurity knowledge actually goes into it too. I'm on a disaster recovery team, so providing the disaster recovery plan for all of the systems for customs and border protection is a part of my role now as well. And data retention is another part that we focus on too. So a lot.
You're busy. That's
Yes.
great. And how long have you been working there?
I have been working there since, I think about this, December of 2022. Yeah, December of 2022. So a little bit over a year now.
Great. And kind of talk me through your background. You went to school here for cybersecurity. Why did you choose cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity to me was a great entryway into a lot of the positions that I wanted to hold. For instance, system engineering. Cybersecurity actually holds a lot of foundation in that. It also provides a wide range of opportunity with other job pathways. So, for instance, if I wanted to go into be analyst or go into penetration testing or anything like that, having that degree and background is really going to facilitate those opportunities for me and keep those doors open, regardless of whatever jobs I end up actually keeping. So that was one of the peaks of that to me. And that's what's worked in my benefit, to be truthfully honest. Since I graduated, I've been able to hold a steady job. Obviously, I've been here for over a year, and the opportunities that ECPI provided me throughout my, I guess, academic career have really actually been what excelled into this point. I mentioned this job was almost self-spoken for before I even got it. My resume alone, holding the experience that I gained from ECPI and having ECPI on there and having a degree in bachelor's of cybersecurity is actually what really piqued my current employer's interest. And um, you know my interview for the job was only 5 minutes long, and I got a call 10 minutes later that I was hired. And a lot of that came from the fact that they were very impressed by what I had presented on paper and that I was very well spoken, and they just took it and ran with it, and that was the end of it. So
Yeah,
really no complaints there at all.
yeah, great. And let's talk about the specific classes that you use most in your current career. What should students really focus on if they want something that is like your job title?
Honestly, focused on all of it. Having that well-rounded knowledge is what really excelled my ability to hold this kind of position, because as you can tell, my position covers a lot of area. There is not one area or another that I particularly focus on a day-to-day basis. And my job, even now, continues to rotate. The focus of the project changes, what our goals are change. So even though that's my focus right this moment, that's going to change in 3 months and it'll continue to change and evolve. So, but the thing that I like about ECPI's coursework is that none of it is too heavy.
Mhm.
And I felt throughout my coursework that all of it was stuff that I would end up using, that it wasn't fluff. I feel like a lot of schools will end up fluffing their courses to make them longer. And while we have 5 weeks to learn everything, that 5 weeks, they're going to give you exactly what you need. So I actually have a lot of my notebooks from school still. I have a lot of my notes. I keep in touch with a lot of my instructors, and a lot of the people that I met in school I'm connected with on LinkedIn. Um, so being able to keep those connections open is another part of what's really helped me. And also keeping in touch with the school. I've done a couple of things for the school that have helped me keep my connections open and widen my horizons that way, that have been able to, bring attention to other parts of my life as well that were really great. So I know it sounds intimidating, but just really, retain as much as you can. And if you can't find the ability to retain it right away, if you know where to find that information later on, that's still going to benefit you in the long run. And that's what I do to this day. I'm not going to sit here and say that I remember every single note that I took. However, I have those notes, I have the resources still available to me, and knowing where that's at, I use that to my advantage all the time.
Yeah, that's great. Um, and what about some like general advice, not just about the coursework, but about how to succeed at ECPI and in your career afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically with ECPI, a lot of people obviously like ECPI for the accelerated route that it offers, and that's one of the reasons that I picked ECPI myself. And it can sometimes seem a little intimidating. You're taking a lot of courses very fast, and within a year span, you're taking almost 20 courses. So keeping your head up and remembering the end goal was something that really helped me. Also, utilizing the resources the school has. I cannot stress that enough. The school offers so many amazing resources. And if you don't know where to find them, there's always somebody who's able to point you in the direction, to include your instructors. A lot of my instructors throughout my coursework, I kept a really close contact with them. And, a lot of times you would be able to stay after class a little late one day, or go back and watch the recorded videos and ask them questions based on that. And they were always available to that too. So use that to your advantage for sure. And then also, if you find yourself getting overwhelmed, that's the one great thing about ECPI, take off from your course load. It's okay. The course will still be there at the end. It's better to take a second for yourself and focus on your mental health than take a course that you're not sure that you can quite balance on your load and end up having to retake it again later anyways. Unfortunately, when I was in the very end of my degree, my mom passed away. So being able to recognize when I needed to just take a break for a second, and communicating with the school, right? Whenever I communicated with ECPI that my mom had passed away, that I was going through a rough time, I had so many people, to include my instructors, the academic advisors, everybody was right there with me the whole time to make sure that I was getting what I needed, and that when I did get back into my coursework, that I was ready, and that they knew that everything was going to be okay. And they actually really helped motivate me in the long run to finish it out and finish it strong. So just those resources are really great. And then beyond that, in the career wise, side of things, keeping in mind what the next step needs to be. Um, for me personally, I always set another goal for myself once I complete another goal. Not to say that I don't give the goal that I did achieve attention, but I'll take about a day to breathe about it, be excited about it, and then the next day, okay, what's next? And in the cybersecurity field, particularly, and really in any field, there is always upwards momentum, especially nowadays. Technology is constantly advancing, everything is always going to continue moving forward. So remembering what your end goals are and talking to people, connecting with people. A lot of the reason that I am where I'm at is through my connections. I wouldn't be where I am without all the people that I've met along the way. So keeping those connections open, keeping yourself open to new ideas. I can't say whenever I graduated cybersecurity that I, walked out of class the last day and was like, well, I'm going to be a system engineer. That is absolutely not what was on my brain. But keeping myself open to the opportunities that sometimes a title of a job may not fully encompass what the job entails. So do your research, look into those things, keeping yourself open, always looking towards the next certification. ECPI has a certification program. I can tell you without a doubt that a lot of the coursework in ECPI directly corresponds to a certification. The Project Plus certification through CompTIA, that was specifically in my coursework. That is a certification that I was able to achieve almost right out the gates after finishing my project management classes. And still to this day, remember everything from those classes, not gonna lie. So taking advantage of that, taking advantage of your alumni certification abilities, and keeping in touch with your career resources that ECPI offers, take advantage of all of that. Like I said, in your coursework, out of your coursework, take advantage of the resources ECPI has, because they offer great resources and I still use them even though I am in the job. I still keep in touch with my career counselors and everything to let them know what my next move is going to be. So that way, when I get there, they can help me with that. So all of that, that's a whole mouthful, but I promise you,
No,
it's
we
all worth it.
appreciate it.
Up, keep motivated, and just take it a step at a time. Don't look too far at how many courses you have yet to go. Keep focused on what you're in, and you know, just go from there. It's
Yeah,
okay.
no, that's great advice. And something I did want to stress too, to new or to current students and graduates is you got your job by someone reaching out to you on LinkedIn. So that's another avenue. I know you said networking is so important, and since a lot of things are very virtual now, keeping a professional outlet like LinkedIn updated and have all of your information on there, resume and everything, so that when those recruiters go past your profile, they know that you are someone that would be a good candidate. So, that's how she got her job, and she only had a 5-minute interview. So that just goes to show you how important LinkedIn is as well.
Yes, and if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, my profile is public. So if you ever have any questions about anything, I'm always an open avenue. I'm always an open source. I have no problem reaching out to people. And, a lot of times if I know someone's in the market for something, I will absolutely reach out to my connections and even see what I can do to help you. Or if you need someone to look over a resume or whatever, I'm always an open resource as well. Do not hesitate to use your alumni network. That's what we're here for. So take
Yeah.
advantage of that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So if anyone has a question for Samantha as well, you can email me and I'll get you guys connected that way, or you can find her on LinkedIn.
Yep, Samantha Jones on LinkedIn.
Okay, great.
And my picture is actually one from my ECPI uh,
Great.
thing. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Samantha. I really appreciate your time and your advice. It's very valuable. So thank you.
yes, of course. Thank you so much again for having me. I really appreciate it.
Here we have Brandon Twine. He is a bachelor's degree holder in cybersecurity. He graduated from ECPI University in August of 2023. Thanks for joining me, Brandon.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So we're just going to go into the questions. And the first question I have for you is, where are you currently working and what is your role there?
Okay. I work for a contractor called NTT Data. That's Nippon Telephone and Telecom. They're a contractor for the Newport News shipbuilding shipyard.
Awesome. And in your specific role, what are some of the things that you do daily?
Okay. So I'm a cyber systems administrator, and they had to bring in a sort of specialist role that they were having trouble hiring for to hook up an operational technology network. So I didn't really have any experience with OT networks before, but it's basically anything that's not a computer. So they want to bring online giant cranes, robot arms, welding machines, basically like huge pieces of equipment that fabricate parts. So my job is to hook them up to a log correlator so they can tell like when the parts need to be replaced or like what their productivity levels look like. And my job is to like sort through all that data and use an AI solution to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do and operating at peak efficiency.
Oh, awesome. And how long have you been working there?
So I started this job about a month ago.
Okay, awesome. And let's go back to before you came to ECPI University. Um, what were you doing beforehand, and why did you decide to change your career path to cybersecurity?
Okay. I was an assistant manager at a Burger King. So it was mentally draining. I was working 60 to 70 hours a week for a fraction of what I'm making now. And I had always been interested in computers, but I never really thought that was something I could do. But I decided to take a gamble and try to change up my career.
Yeah. So why did you choose ECPI as your university then?
I originally just came in to sort of scout it out and see if it was something I'd be interested in going to. And once I really got to walk around the building and see the kind of hands-on learning that people were doing there, I thought it was a good fit.
Good. Um, and let's talk about, the types of attributes that ECPI has that persuaded you to come here. What were those things that sold you?
So I would say the biggest thing was the hands-on learning. You get to actually put your hands on a router and a switch and hook up Ethernet cables to them. And I've heard that a lot of other colleges, the learning you do is very academic, but it doesn't really give you the skills you need to succeed in the real world. And ECPI really does give you the opportunity to do that if you are passionate enough about it. There's always a lab open that you can go and take the exercises that you do online and do them with real equipment.
So you graduated from ECPI, and what were your different jobs that you held up until now? And, talk me through them, your roles there, and things like that.
Okay. About 3 months after I got started at ECPI, I started in December of 2021. I got in touch with a teacher, Aaron Plattick, who teaches at night. And he told me that if I got my Security Plus certification, he thought he could help me get in to NCDOC, the Navy's Cyber Defense Operations Command. So 3 weeks later, I spent 3 or 4 hours a day studying, got the certification, and sure enough, he helped me get a job there as a help desk. They call it a support administrator. So my job was to get in touch with the people on the Navy ships and basically troubleshoot their vulnerability scanners. And after I had done that for about 6 months, I switched over to being a systems administrator. So I was in charge of running the servers on the back end there. So that was pretty cool. I got to see all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes when I was on the front of the show as a help desk person before that. And I did that until about a month ago.
Oh, wow. So you held that job that you started while you were still in school. And then you got this new job a month ago. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to work during the day, 7 to 3 o'clock. Then when 5:30 rolled around, I was at ECP at night, every night grinding.
Nice. Um, let's talk about certifications.
I love
You
certifications.
hold so many, and I will let you probably don't want to list all of them because there are so many. But tell us how many you have and what your top 5 are.
Okay, so I've got 23 certifications. ECPI has paid for the majority of them, 17 of them to be exact. And I would say the 5 biggest ones are probably CISSP, CCNA, Security Plus, CASP, and Linux Plus. And those are all CompTIA certifications.
Okay. So, when we're talking about these certifications, why is it so important to you that you have these certifications?
Employers love them. This my certifications will at least get me an interview basically anywhere. I have to do the hard work after that, but that'll get me through the computer that throws away like the first 90% of all resumes that come in.
Yeah. Can you talk about what it's done for you in a way of progressing your abilities and your talents in your industry and how it's helped your career and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So certifications don't necessarily like teach you that much, but they do demonstrate that you have the ability to learn a subject because a lot of them are multiple choice. So, you can theoretically learn most of the answers. Now, some of these tests have question banks of thousands and thousands of questions, so you can't like learn all the questions. So you do still have to learn things, but they show you have the ability to acquire information. And that's probably the most important thing that employers are really looking for is your ability to learn things fast. So when an employer sees that you have a bunch of really hard certifications on your resume, they'll know that you have the ability to go and acquire information on your own. And that you also are willing to invest in yourself because certifications are extremely expensive. I don't need to tell them that ECPI paid for everything but $15 of every certification I took, but they know that I spent tens of thousands of dollars improving my skills.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so what advice do you have to current students who are in the program that you did at ECPI University? What's some advice that you would have for them?
Um, sure. Get Security Plus. We live in an area, I live in the Norfolk, Virginia area, and we live in an area where government contracting is huge. Security Plus is what the Department of Defense looks for to prove that you know exactly enough to start working in IT. So once you get that, you can work on making yourself very marketable and build from there. But that's definitely the right starting.
Yeah. What do you have advice specifically about studying for the exams and how the exams go for you?
They're nerve-wracking, especially your first few. You're never prepared. You always feel like you're gonna fail, and that's pretty normal. But you just have to take the leap at some point. Don't overstudy. Just go in there. Most exams will tell you what you missed, and ECPI will pay for at least 2 attempts. So you get your first one out of the way, and then you study the things you missed, and you get them right the second time.
Yeah, that's good advice. Um, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Very welcome.
Okay, we have Kevon Wardlaw. He is a 2018 cybersecurity bachelor's degree holder from ECPI University. Thank you for joining me, Kevon.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we'll go ahead and get into the questions so we can learn a little bit more about your journey here at ECPI
Yeah.
and what you have been doing afterwards.
Okay.
So the first question I have for you is, where are you currently working and what's your role there?
Currently, right now, I work for Acumen IT. It is a mid-sized business that's in Greer. Currently, my role is a network administrator. My job is that I facilitate 5 offices in the upstate. It is a dental practice office. So when they need computers, hard drives, if they need any type of networking service, if they have internet issues, um, let's say that if I'm in Columbia and the Greenville office need to talk to each other, my job is to make sure when they're transmitting any type of financial database issues that it's secure because there's been a lot of hacks lately. And our number one priority is to make sure when they're submitting any type of HIPAA stuff, whether if it's personal information or if it's financial information, we got to make sure that they get all that information secure, connected through the internet. So, but my main role is to make sure that all of the facilities is running smoothly. Um, anytime they have like an issue as far as downtime, any power issues, we make sure that they're still running after hours. I do full maintenance 24 hours. Also, I have a round table meeting with the doctors. We do I think every 3 months we sit down and talk about what their goals are, what their projections are, what type of equipment they need in the future, just in case if something happens. I sit down and talk to them, and we kind of set up a map or a ground fall as far as like what would they like to do in the next couple of years? Would they want to automate something? Do they still want to keep it the way it is? We're just trying to well, my job is to make sure that, that they're comfortable, making sure that everything runs smooth throughout the day, and, they're good to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how long have you been working there?
2.5 years.
Okay, nice.
Mhm.
Can you take me through your journey since you've graduated, what different job titles you held, where you were
Mhm.
working, and how you got to where you are now?
From ECPI or beforehand?
From ECPI after you
Okay.
graduated, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So after I graduated, I worked on a certification called CCNA, Cisco Routing and Switching. Is like 2 months after I graduated, when I got the certification, I posted on LinkedIn, and I immediately got a call from Data Masters. That is a contracting group that's out of North Carolina. They called me and said that there was a job opportunity that they wanted me to look for. I said, okay. So I took the interview, and it was a surprise because they didn't tell me exactly what the company was. But when I got there, it was ADT, the alarm company.
Yeah.
So I did their cybersecurity department. I managed all the firewalls for each client. We managed over like 2,000 clients. So that's when actually my actual career took off, is when I got that job right after school. It was really great. They taught me a lot of cybersecurity things, integrity, confidentiality, things that you really need to know if you really want to be a cybersecurity major. That job gave me my footprint,
That's
and I
awesome.
worked there for 2 years, and they laid everyone off because I guess there were certain companies that was like taking our customers, so they laid us off. But it was okay because right after that, that's when I applied for Acumen. Now, the cool thing about Acumen is that I applied for Acumen 4 years ago before I graduated from ECPI.
Wow.
Um, the president is still there, and when I first had my interview with him, he said your interview was great, but your skills could be better. And I was like, okay, that makes sense because I'm still fresh out of school. And now he remembered me 4 years later, and he was like, yep, this is exactly what we need. And then that's how I got the job. So
Wow.
yeah, I've been good ever since. Yeah.
So
So
you applied a while ago and
hmm
you didn't get the job, you had the interview.
hmm
You took a little bit of time to work on your skills
hmm
and then you applied again.
hmm
So was it a place that you really wanted to work at?
um
Or what made you
not
apply
this.
again after getting turned down once? Because I'm sure some people would get kind of discouraged after that first one. What made you want to try again?
I think because I advanced my skills, it made me feel, I felt more confident that I was going to get the job. But also when I took the second interview, the questions they were asking me, I was more comfortable. I was able to explain a little bit more than what they was even asking me, which made them feel even better about, what I was going to do. So I think that's what it was. It was more the confidence, and like I had the skills already. And so I knew what I needed to do.
Yeah. Do you think that for current students, I know you said that you went for your CCNA first.
hmm
Is that something that you would recommend to other students, or what other certifications would you recommend?
If you're going into the cybersecurity field, CCNA, Cisco routing and switching is great. It's a great foundation to get your feet wet. A lot of companies do Cisco, but if not, the best next selection is you want to get your Net Plus. That's CompTIA. The second one is Security Plus, and then the next one you want to get is called the CISA. You want to get that one as well. Them three alone will put you on the right path, the right journey. If you go to this website called CompTIA Roadmap, it'll tell you a roadmap of what you possibly want to get into, because there's like 5 different roadmaps you can get into. Cybersecurity is so big, But the CCNA, the Network Plus, the the Network Plus, the Security Plus, and the CISA. Them are the ones that you really want to hone in and focus on. That's going to get you going where you need to be.
Yeah. Do you have any advice as far as the process of getting a certification, taking the test, studying, anything that you did that helped you with that process?
Yes, absolutely. What's going to help tremendously a lot, whether if you're what's the word I'm trying to say? Some people are visual learners.
Mhm.
Some people can just read a book and it just clicks. But what you really want to do is see if you can go out to like eBay or Amazon, or just if you already have an IT job, or if you don't, try to go to a school and ask them like, hey, is there any old equipment around that I could have? Or you can go online and purchase your own equipment. It's nothing like having the equipment you're trying to basically learn. And what I did was, how I got my CCNA was I bought switches. I bought three of them, and I brought my own router. And all I did was just break them, fix them, break them, fix them, and break them and fix them over and over and over for like 6 months. And after that, I took my tests and I passed. So it's nothing like having your own equipment, because then you can understand when you're reading the book what they're asking about, but also when you're going into an interview, or if you're just, let's say if you get the job because you know what you're saying, but then it's like when you actually go to the physical equipment and you've never seen it before, touched it, it's going to be kind of hard for you to like really do the job. So if you had your hands on it, troubleshoot it before, touched it, seen it, broke it, and fix it, it'll just make the interview process easier. You'll be more comfortable when you get the job, and also it'll help you pass your certification as well.
Yeah. I've asked that question a lot. I haven't gotten that advice before, so I'm glad that you gave that advice. And it sounds like it goes along with ECPI's attributes too of hands-on learning. So it sounds like you really learn with your hands on the equipment, which I'm sure a
Yes.
lot of our students do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great advice. Thank you. Um, Speaking of that, were there any attributes of ECPI that really stuck out to you that really helped you graduate?
A couple things that stuck out was that the teachers, Alan Saul and I think it was David Serrato, I think this is his name. But what stood out was that the teachers never gave up. They've always go around asking questions. One thing I did like that stood out, for me, but also for other students, was that they stayed later than what they were supposed to. If they saw students really wanting to learn this stuff, they stay after hours, helping, like giving us more resources, trying to make us think outside the box without just giving us the answers. So they were really supportive, and I think that was one of the cool things that I liked. They were very supportive in their job. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
Yep.
So do you have any advice to current students who are just starting out in the program that you went through? Do you have any advice for them to help them through this journey and afterwards?
Current students, I would say if you're doing well in the program, continue to just try to put your hands on the equipment, keep studying, keep learning, because it with IT it just doesn't stop. It's kind of like you have to think of like a firmware update. It's like every 6 months there's something new coming out. So just keep trying to build skills, keep learning, and just stay there. If you are if you're a current student and you are struggling, I wouldn't say give up necessarily. What you should do is just try to find something within the program that you like and key in on that, and then kind of proceed from there, because IT is so big. People think in IT like, oh, I want to be, a cybersecurity major, but that's a broad topic. I'm not a cybersecurity major. I have my degree in it, but I'm a network administrator. But I do cybersecurity things. So that's where some things you may want to try to talk to your advisor about, or, I can give you my information. You can talk to me as well, to figure out what you really want to do, because there's so many sections in cybersecurity where, you can be concentrated. It doesn't have to be so broad. So I would just work on that and see what, you feel comfortable doing or what you like the best, and then try to go from there.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and sharing all of that advice and insight into your career. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Kevon.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for having me. This was great.